Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Blu-Roy Movies. I hope you're all doing well. At the moment in the UK, we're in the midst of a storm Bill or Ben or Boris or whatever they've called it. I don't know what happened to when wet and windy days were just called wet and windy days. We have to label them now like everything's labelled. But there you go. But it's a day for not going out, for staying in. So let's get comfy. Let's grab a mug of tea and let's talk about some weekly watches. Now, I've got 8 titles to talk about this week. Yes, 8. Also, I watched The Substance. I streamed that. That was very, very good. Really enjoyed that. But we're not going to talk about that because it's about the physical stuff. Oh, I've also started delving into my Buster Keaton short set. I've watched 2 or 3 of those. But we're going to concentrate on the feature-length films. Yeah, quite a busy week. Must be International Week in the Football. We started it off last Sunday with a watch of the 1958 version of The Fly, starring David Hedison, Patricia Owens and the inimitable Vincent Price. And whilst I agree with most people, the Cronenberg version is a better film, this is still a damn good sci-fi film and a good way to spend a Sunday afternoon. Now, I seem to recall it was in black and white, but it wasn't. It was in colour. So that was sort of a Mandela effect, I suppose. Yeah, this is about David Hedison. He's a scientist, and like a lot of scientists, is quite an obtuse character and keeps people at arm's length. And he's working on a way of transporting matter from one port to another. When he decides to try it on himself, a fly gets in the pod with him, and he becomes out half man, half fly. He gets his wife to put him out of his misery, and then she's on the end of a murder charge, and it's all about the unravelling of the story. Vincent Price plays the scientist brother, and he's just brilliant, as Vincent Price always is. And quite creepy in places. It creeps me about, especially when he's stuck in the web going, "Help me, help me." Yeah, really good stuff. Like I say, not as good as the Cronenberg version, but a bloody good time. Next up, the wife and I, we delved back into the Conjuring set for a viewing of the final Annabelle film of the 3, which is Annabelle Comes Home, I believe. Yes. Now, when this started, I thought this was going to be great because it started off with the Warrens and they were taking Annabelle back to reside in their room that's full of all these artifacts. It's like the Alton Towers of the occult in that little room. But unfortunately, the Warrens weren't in it for very long because they decided to go out and leave everything in the hands of babysitters. And what could possibly go wrong in that sort of house? Well, all sorts. But I'll tell you what, it was all right. It was quite a decent watch. I quite enjoyed it. It was hour and a half. It don't outstay its welcome. Jump scare heavy as a lot of these modern horrors are, but it was okay. A good time. Nothing you're gonna remember this time next week. But yeah, all right. The first one was terrible, but the second 2 Annabelle films, you know what? They weren't too bad. Next up for myself was a film that I really enjoy, a rewatch of Inside Man, directed by Spike Lee. A Spike Lee joint, as they say. Why do they say that? Why are Spike Lee films labelled as joints? Sometimes they say it about Tarantino, don't they? A Quentin Tarantino joint. And I don't even know the meaning behind that, so if anybody knows about that, let me know down below. Yeah, this is just a wonderful bank heist film. Denzel, the brilliant Denzel. Clive Owen, fantastic. I like Clive Owen. He would have made a great Bond, in my opinion. Jodie Foster. Who else in this? Giancarlo Ejiofor. I'll never know how to spell his name, pronounce his name correctly. Even though Kermit put me right, and he has done before, but it won't sink in. Christopher Plummer is always good. And Willem Dafoe, so a really stacked cast. This is about Clive Owen and a group of his cohorts, they raid a bank and they take hostages. But they dress all the hostages the same as the bank robbers, so that when everybody goes out, they don't know who's the bank robbers and who's the hostages. And it's not just your straightforward bank heist, because it's got a lot to do with the owner of the bank. He was getting diamonds and stuff like that from the Nazis, and he's kept them in this vault. Yeah, really interesting bank job. How it all unfolds is absolutely wonderful. It keeps you guessing all the way along. Yeah, a film I really enjoy, and I've watched a few times now, and I will do again. And now on the other end of the spectrum, look at that sticker, 517. I think that was an old Woolworths sticker. Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure I must have got this from Woolworths back in the day. Dear old Woolworths, I do miss them. Couldn't beat their pick and mix. Stepto Son. Prime British comedy, this. Wilfrid Bramble, Harry H. Corbett as father and son rag and bone men, always bickering, just brilliant English in humour. I watched the first film of this because it's a double bill, just entitled Stepto Son. And Harold, he marries a stripper and she has to come and live at home with Albert. And of course, that's never going to go well, is it? And of course, it doesn't, as it never does in Stepto Son. Yeah, you all know Stepto. Well, the English and the British viewers of mine, maybe the Americans aren't so au fait with it, but it's British humour that won't get made these days, and I really enjoy it. I might watch the second one sometimes this week. And up next, November it is, and can't go wrong with It's a Lonely Place. A rewatch for me. Cracking film noir. One of my favourites. Humphrey Bogart, Gloria Graham, directed by Nicholas Ray, who Gloria Graham was married to at the time, but that ended in tears when Nicholas Ray basically caught her in bed with his 13-year-old son. Yep. Women seem to get a pass for that sort of thing, don't they? She did actually go on to marry the son after a few years after that, and she actually was her longest marriage. I think she was married to him for 14 years. Yeah, you can say what you want. Well, I do like Casablanca and films like that, but for me, this is my favourite Humphrey Bogart performance. He plays a Hollywood screenwriter, and he's hard drinking. He's got anger issues. One night he invites a lady who works in a nightclub to read to him to get ideas for his latest script, and then she goes home, but she's murdered on the way home, and Bogart feels the finger of suspicion on himself. But Gloria Graham, she's absolutely smouldering in this, as she is in most things. She's probably my favourite femme fatale in these films. She lives next door to Bogart, and although she didn't see everything, she gives him an alibi to say that she saw the girl leave and Bogart closed the door, but she didn't see it properly. I think as she said, she liked the look of his face, so gave him an alibi. Inevitably, the two get together, and she discovers about Bogart's anger issues and fights and all that, and starts to doubt the validity of the story she told the police to clear him. And you don't know, did he do it or didn't he do it? It keeps you guessing all the time, and it's got a really sad ending, I think. Really, one that tugs on you. Yeah, one of my favourite film noirs. If you haven't seen that, brilliant film. Bogart and Graham both died at the age of 57. Sadly, too young, the pair of them. Both different forms of cancer. Bogart, throat cancer. It's not surprising because it's never without a cigarette in these films. And I think Graham, she died of pancreatic cancer. So yeah, really sad that they were taken from us too soon, but their lives are forever captured in wonderful things like this for us, In a Lonely Place. If you haven't seen that and you like your noir, give it a go. It's wonderful. Next up, Spectre. Now that's it. Now I'm up to Spectre. I can finally watch the latest one, No Time to Die, because like I've explained before, I've had the 4K since it come out, and I haven't watched it because I started a run through of all the Bond films, and now I've done Spectre. I can now get on to No Time to Die on 4K eventually, and I think this one's got a bad reputation, but you know what? I quite enjoyed it. I think it's pretty damn good, to be honest. It's all about the formation of Spectre and Blofeld, and how it all come about, how he got the scar on his face and his cat and everything, and just tied everything together. Like, why people don't like it, I don't know. It's got some brilliant action scenes, as all the Bonds do. I think it might be quite thinky, talky than a lot of Bond films. Maybe that's what it is, but it appeals to me. I quite liked it, and I shall now be getting on with the latest one at last. Next up, and this was a great film. First time watch for myself, The Crying Game, starring Stephen Ray, Miranda Richardson, she was a horrible bitch in this, Forrest Whitaker, Jay Davidson, and Neil Jordan directed, who didn't he go on the vampire one, Interview with the Vampire, he also directed. This is about Forrest Whitaker. He plays a soldier doing a tour of Northern Ireland from Tottenham. He's supposed to hail from, even though I think he's a Texan, and his Cockney accent, well, he's not Cockney from Tottenham, is he? North London's out Cockney, he's not the Bobels. His London accent is not the best, to be honest with you. He tries his hardest, bless him. He's on tour in Northern Ireland, and he's gone to a fun fair with Miranda Richardson, which confused me a bit, because having spoken to, I know a few people that have done tours in Northern Ireland, and leaving the barracks and doing stuff like that, I always was in the impression it was a big no-no. So why he was out in a fair enjoying rides and stuff like that, I've no idea. But he's captured by this group of IRA people, who Miranda Richardson was one of them, and luring him into a trap, and he's held hostage. Stephen Ray is one of the members of the gang, and as he's holding Forrest Whitaker hostage, they start talking and they become quite friendly, much to the annoyance of the other members of this gang. Is held for ransom, but the British don't come through on the ransom, so Stephen Ray is given the order to execute him, and that's as far as I'll go with. That happens pretty early in the film, so it's not too much, but I don't want to talk about it much more, because I think it's a slept-on film, and it's a great film. I really enjoyed it, and it goes in directions that you don't expect, and there's a twist in this film, and I never saw this twist coming, and it's one of the most bizarre twists I've ever seen in a film. If anybody who's watched, any of you guys, you viewers, you've watched this and you know this twist, you're probably laughing at me, because it is some bloody twist. Just thinking about it now, like, it's just taking me back to when I watched this a couple of days ago, and when the twist literally revealed, my jaw hit the floor. I want to tell you what it is, but I also want at least one person to go and get as gobsmacked as I was by this bloody twist in this film. I'm sorry to be cryptic, but I can't tell you what it is. Yeah, but a blinding film, BFI, brilliant stuff they bring out. And last for the week was a film that I showed last week, and I had a lot of comments saying, "Oh, let me know what it's like because I'd be really interested in that one. I haven't seen that." So, and that was Sophie Sha, or as it's otherwise known, Sophie Sha: The Final Days. This is about the titular character Sophie and her brother. Directed by Mark Rotherman, 2005. This film. Julia Shaw is played wonderfully by Julia Gents, and her brother by Fabian Henriks. It's a true story about Sophie and her brother and some other members. In World War II, there was a group called the White Rose, and they were students, and there were Germans in the war, and what they were doing, they were leafleting about the crimes that the Germans were doing across Europe and everywhere else, and making the other students aware of what was going on, all by peaceful methods. It wasn't like, you see, like the French resistance and they're shooting and blowing stuff up like that. No, it's all peaceful stuff. One day they're doing a ticket bomb in the university that they go to, and they get caught and arrested, and it's all about their interrogation and the court case and the subsequent executions of the members of this gang. And brilliant film. I really, really liked it. Maybe the film of the week, actually. The acting is incredible. Like the girl Julie, who played Sophie, brilliant. It's very talky. It's not much action in it. There's hardly any action in it. It's all dialogue based and getting in between what happened in the interrogation mostly, and like the guy who's interrogating her, you sort of like thought that he felt a bit sorry for her, but then when she got to the actual court case, the guy who was like judging it, he was absolutely horrible. What a terrible character. He made your bloody skin crawl. But yeah, really, really good. I do recommend it. Like all you people that ask me about it, yeah, it is a good film. But just bear in mind, like it's very talky. There's not much action in it. It's dialogue based, and if you like that sort of thing, like I do, then yeah, it's great. So that was it for another week. A bloody good week, actually. I enjoyed everything I watched. Yeah, really good. So if you've liked what I've done today, give me the old thumbs up. Maybe think about subscribing. If you want to hear more of this twaddle next week, I'll catch you in the week with something, and yeah, we'll be good. And take care, and don't go too far because it's bloody horrible weather out there. Take care. See you later.